Hey there, science explorers. Have you ever held two rocks that looked almost exactly the same and wondered, what in the world are you? It's a fantastic question. Today we'll answer it for two trickster minerals, Leucite and Analcime. Take a look at these two specimens right here. They're both whitish and kind of glassy at first glance, and could easily be mistaken for each other in a collection or out in the field. In geology, knowing the difference is very important. It's like telling a house cat from a bobcat, related, but very different stories. So why does it matter if you have leucite or analcime? These minerals are geological storytellers. Leucite forms in potassium-rich volcanic lavas that cool relatively quickly. Analcime often forms much later in cavities and cracks of volcanic rocks as sodium-rich water seeps through. Alright, our first test is all about observation. Let's get up close and personal with our mineral samples and examine their crystal shape, or what geologists call their crystal habit. Minerals are like people. They have characteristic ways they like to grow. Leucite crystals, when they have room to form properly, often grow into a shape that looks like a 24-sided polygon, called a trapezohedron. But when they are jumbled together in a rock, they often appear as blocky, irregular masses. They can also show broken faces that look a bit like chunky, imperfect cubes. Think of them as being built from little angular blocks. Now, let's turn our attention to analcime. Analcime crystals also form trapezohedrons. However, they frequently appear with smoother, more rounded surfaces than leucite. You might see curved faces. You might see a more ball-like appearance, or a granular appearance where multiple crystals have grown together. When you look at a cluster of analcime crystals, they can sometimes resemble a pile of tiny, smooth teeth, or wedges. If you have a magnifying glass, an excellent tool for any rockhound, use it now. Look for those fine details on the crystal surfaces. Sharp, angular edges might point towards leucite, while smoother, more rounded forms suggest analcime. For sample A, I'm looking closely and I can see some distinct, sharp-edged faces. The overall structure feels very angular and blocky. Our second test involves another one of our amazing senses, sight. We're going to examine the luster and color of our two mystery minerals. Luster is a super cool scientific word for how a mineral's surface reflects light. Is it shiny like metal, glassy like a window, or dull like a piece of chalk? Both leucite and analcime are typically whitish or grayish, so color alone can be tricky. However, their lusters can give us a very important clue. Leucite generally has what geologists call a vitreous luster. Glassy, like a piece of broken bottle glass. Sometimes a bit greasy, but mainly glassy. Analcime can be vitreous but frequently with a softer quality. Often it appears waxy or even a little pearly, especially on crystal faces. Imagine the soft sheen on a candle, or the gentle glow of a pearl. Hold each stone up and rotate it slowly under a bright light. Pay attention to how the light bounces. Sample A shows sharp, bright reflections, like slightly cloudy glass, no waxy feel. That's a strong point in the leucite column. Sample B is shiny but with a softer, more diffused glow, slightly waxy to pearly on rounded faces. It almost seems to glow from within. Another point for analcime for sample B and for leucite for sample A. The plot thickens. Subtle, but powerful. Time to get a little more hands-on for our third test. We're going to investigate hardness. Hardness is how resistant a mineral is to being scratched. Geologists use the Mohs hardness scale. Talc is a 1, very soft. Diamond is a 10, super hard. A steel nail, or the point of a steel file, is about 5.5. A glass plate is similar. Safety note: wear eye protection. Test on an inconspicuous spot, never across a beautiful face. Leucite is about 5.5 to 6. Analcime is 5 to 5.5. Leucite should scratch glass and resist a steel nail. Analcime may take a nail scratch. On sample A, I press and drag. It's not easy to make a mark. The nail leaves a metallic streak, but the stone barely scratches, harder than or close to the nail. Strong support for leucite. Now sample B. This time the nail bites more easily. A visible groove, softer than the nail. Another strong piece of evidence. A harder, B softer. Our case is getting stronger. Safety first, always. For our fourth test, we're going to play with light. We'll investigate transparency. How well light passes through, transparent, translucent, or opaque. Both leucite and analcime are typically translucent, but behave differently. Hold the edge to a bright light in a dim space and watch the glowing rim. Leucite. Clearer transmitted light. Internal fractures flash sharply, like thick glass. Analcime. More cloudy or milky, sometimes with silk-like internal lines. The glow is softly diffused, a subtle but useful difference. Sample A shows a clear, bright glow on thin edges. Internal cracks flash brilliantly. Classic Leucite behavior. Sample B's glow is diffuse and milky, no sharp flashes. The translucent area looks softly fogged, very characteristic of Analcime. Test 4 aligns with our earlier results. Consistency builds confidence. Onward to the final test. Welcome to our fifth and final test. We're going to see how our minerals look when they take a little bath. All you need is a clear glass or a bowl of water. Water changes how light interacts with the surface, emphasizing luster and transparency differences. Leucite tends to retain a glassy look when wet. It can even seem slightly clearer, with internal features more visible. Analcime's waxy or pearly luster can become more pronounced or dull the surface. Edges may vanish slightly. Sample A underwater still looks like a wet piece of glass. Sample B looks duller overall, becoming milky transparent, strongly suggesting Analcime. Another subtle clue that supports our previous tests. Our 5 tests are complete. We've done it. We put our 2 mystery minerals through 5 scientific tests. Sample A, blocky, angular shape, glassy luster, resists a steel nail, sharp internal flashes, stays glassy in water. Every clue points to Leucite. Sample B, rounded forms, waxy, pearly luster, scratched by a steel nail, milky diffusion, duller in water. All signs align with Analcime. So, the final verdict is in. Sample A is Leucite, and Sample B is Analcime. Use this method anytime, wear safety glasses, and never taste minerals. Some can be toxic. Congratulations, you are now a mineral detective.